What do we have for Pisces? Four of Cups, Cancer energy at the foundation of the reading, Pisces. Pisces, right now, I feel that you're in a place where you've really been focusing on all the little things, whether they're environmental, whether they have to do with your health and your wellness. Certainly, it could be people as well. But you're really focusing on things that are creating delay and stagnation on your path. And this is perfect because this is in alignment with all these retrogrades we have going on right now. I feel that you're starting to look at your life from a higher perspective, and you're seeing how all of these little things work together in tandem to keep you in a kind of spiritual maze. Now, this is a kind of macro way of looking at your life, but it's very important right now, Pisces, because it's really going to allow you to sift through all the things that do and don't matter at this point in your journey. This is one of these energies, Pisces, where you are taking a look at your own life through the eyes of the divine, through the eyes of God, through the eyes of the universe. And by having this perspective shift, you're going to be able to make some really big decisions in the coming weeks and months that are going to shift the trajectory of your life into alignment with what the divine has willed for your life. And this is exactly what we're picking up with this Four of Cups at the foundation. The Four of Cups is an energy of apathy. It's an energy that feels unfulfilled with where you might be, right? It's an energy of, is this it? And you see, this cup is just representing everything that you've always known or had, or just this energy that you're bored with. But then there's this divine white horse coming through, right? Wanting you to want more. I heard that so clearly. But you also understand that in order to start walking down this new path, so to speak, Pisces, there's some things that have to go. There's some things that can't go with you, right? This is an energy that's calling for you to sacrifice everything that is no longer going to work moving forward. Again, behavioral pattern, person, place, thing. And for some of you, there is a focus here on health. What do we have at the sacral, please? Wow. This just followed what I said. The Knight of Swords is an energy of lifestyle changes, okay? So now we're starting to see that not only are we perfectly tapped into your energy here, but there's an indication of this shift actually unfolding in your life. Once you make some big decisions here, Pisces, I also heard some tough decisions. I mean, look, I see this energy all the time. You know, I understand this energy because of the amount of readings I do for people, and I've also been through this myself. But I think it goes without saying, Pisces, because I truly feel that you already know this, but you may need to hear it repeated back to you again, that in order to succeed in this direction that you're being called to go, the sacrifice is what is going to unlock the door. And as you can see here, it's like that's you on the horse, right? There's the horse, right? The divine's coming to take you. Now you're on the horse, and it's like you're burning down the past, right? And you're charging towards this new timeline, this new chapter. This is also an energy of timeline jumping. You know, Pisces, I feel that you do understand that faith without works is dead, right? You understand that in order to implement this massive change in your life, you're going to have to put one foot in front of the other and start marching towards it. It's not going to show up on your front doorstep. That's just not how it works. And it surprises me how many people in the collective think that things will just magically appear on their front doorstep when they want. And again, it's just not how it works. I don't know where people got that idea from, right? You know, maybe it's rooted in the fact that a lot of people think that somebody is going to come and save them from their troubles, but that's just not how the universe works. The universe mirrors back to you exactly the way you're moving in your life. So if you're charging towards new beginnings, you're putting the work in, the effort in, you're not just sitting on your hands, so to speak, and you're actually pushing forward, then the universe gives you more of that. If you're just sitting and waiting, then the universe is going to be sitting and waiting there with you. You program your own reality. And when people start to truly realize this is when you can have a lot of fun with it, because once you've become very seasoned in the knowing that this is how the universe works, you'll find yourself manifesting on a dime. And I'm not just saying this, Pisces, this is tried and true. Just recently, I was sitting talking to Source about something that I wanted to come into my life. And it wasn't even 48 hours later that this thing literally showed up. It was mind-blowing. It had me in a state of shock. But then I started to really focus in on the amount of work that I've had to put in to get to the point where I can manifest like that. And anyone can do this. It just takes work, it takes patience, and it takes focus, and it takes drive. What do we have? The solar plexus, please. Hermit, Virgo energy at the solar plexus. And this is actually picking up on what I just said in regards to something I wanted to manifest into my life. The Hermit is all about going inward, right? And going inward is how you connect with Source. You have to go inward to get guidance on how to move outwardly. You know, we become so conditioned by living inside the everyday grind that is life, inside the matrix of life, right? Inside the maze. And faith, hope, these aren't things that are really taught. You know, we've been conditioned to rely on a kind of system. It's very much like a lot of the movies we see. But what I'm seeing here very clearly is that the divine is trying to get your attention. The divine needs you to go inward. The divine needs you to connect, because the divine needs you to step on to your destined path. There's something here for you. There's a shift preparing to take place in not only your life, this is globally, and we can all feel it. There's almost like this feeling that something big is coming, because it is. But right now, it's time to focus on what you can control, Pisces. If you can manage to do that, sky's the limit. Nothing is outside of your grasp when you start to align with your true north. You have everything at your disposal that is in alignment with your highest good. This is also something that we have been conditioned to think is not real, or to think that, I don't know, maybe it's just a little bit too woo-hoo, right? But I can tell you, again, based on experience, this is very real. You know, not a lot of people talk about this, but karma is currency. It's the most valuable currency in existence. It is the spiritual currency. And when you have good karma on your side, you'll be given access to anything you could possibly want that keeps the flow of that same karmic currency or vibration moving in your particular life. See, vibration, frequency, is how you attain the karmic currency. The higher your vibration, which is all a byproduct of how you move in your everyday waking life, the more spiritual currency you are able to attain. So where do you start, right? Just heard some of you literally say that out there. Well, Pisces, the first step is to go inward. Download your mission statement. Your intuition translates your mission statement. Once it's been translated, then your mind will start to feed you pieces of information on how you are to move in your everyday waking life. You typically don't know that this is happening in the moment. It takes you navigating yourself down your path for an extended period of time, and then looking back and realizing that the higher power was working with you. But that's how you access the higher power. You know, some of these downloads may be fed to you in your dreams. It also will come in the form of signs and synchronicities. But again, to reiterate, the very first step that you need to take is to sit down in silence, speak to Source, speak to God, speak to the divine, speak to the universe. Whoever you see as your supreme being, that's okay. The focus needs to be on that single point of creation, that single point of light. Some people call that God. Some people call that Source. Some people call that the divine. But when you can start to nurture a relationship with that, Pisces, block out all of the other noise, remove all the traffic from your mind, you will start to see massive shifts begin to unfold in your life. Again, you probably won't notice it in its full capacity when it's happening, because it's kind of chaotic, right? It's a kind of tower energy. But I can tell you, Pisces, the further I make my way down my path, my true north, the more faith I have, because I look back on all of these different points of my journey, and there's just no denying that the presence of God was there. I wish I would have known in those moments. But you become so consumed with what you're dealing with in that time and space that it almost slips your mind. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. You call on God, you call on the divine in this capacity, and they start arranging things for you behind the scenes. And I just heard somebody process a thought. Why don't they do that without us having to ask? And I've heard this question countless times, and it's one that we always seem to forget. You, me, all of us, we have free will. So you must ask. You must show up. See, life is a journey of us rediscovering faith that is seemingly stripped away from us when we're incarnated into this life cycle. We're birthed into these mazes. It's like the devil's matrix, the devil's maze. We accepted the mission, right? We're at divine headquarters before we even come down, and the divine says to us, God says to us, look, when you go down there, your memory is going to be wiped. You're going to have to rediscover faith, and it could take you most of your life to even find your path or what your destiny is. It's going to be the most difficult thing you ever do, ever. But this is all a part of your soul's journey, and it is your mission because you accepted it. And a lot of people wonder, well, what's the point of that? Well, Pisces, that is the single most asked question in human existence. What is the point, right? Pisces, we're here because we're fighting a vibrational war. We are custodians of Earth, Gaia. We work for the universe, and we're here to keep balance. There's an opposing force because there is a duality inside this reality that is the three-dimensional density. I just heard somebody saying duality doesn't exist, and this is something I mentioned in another reading recently. This one can be very frustrating when I hear this duality doesn't exist, but it does, okay? Yes, the universe is one. We are all one under the single umbrella, right? But in the three-dimensional density, there's two polarities, negative and positive, the duality, right? And to understand this is to be able to truly get a grasp on our mission here. To not accept that is you relinquishing your mission and your purpose as a human being. If you want to look at it from a macro perspective, and depending on what your belief system is, we have God and we have the devil. We have good, we have bad, we have dark, we have light, we have demons, we have angels. There's so many different levels to this, right? We call this the micro to macro. But all we need to focus on is what we can control in our own lives. And when you strip all of that down to the bare necessities that we need in order to navigate our reality, you start making decisions based on the framework of this understanding. Once you start to do this, this is what calibrates and aligns you with your mission and your true north as a means to fulfill your destiny in this life cycle. What do we have, the heart? Oh, wow. And look who decided to show up to the party, Pisces. The devil. He obviously heard us say his name. If this doesn't confirm everything I just said, I don't know what does. Just heard you are all inside the devil's maze. So how are you going to move? What are you going to do with that information? See, when you go inward with this hermit energy here as a means to download your mission statement, everything I just said to you is essentially right there on page 1. A lot of people, most people, don't want to believe this. But I would like to think that if you are listening to my reading, Pisces, it's because your mind works much different than most. You do understand. You're ready. You're prepared. You're hungry for change. It's very clear with this Four of Cups at the foundation. As you make your way down this path, Pisces, the divine starts to strip back the layers. The divine shows you what's hiding behind the veil, which is that devil energy right there at the heart. Understanding that we are indeed inside a kind of simulation, a kind of matrix that all of us are collectively programming. Yes, individually we can all influence our own reality. That's very clear. But there's also the collective consciousness that we all partake in as well. See, a lot of people can't quite grasp that, right? That there's essentially two realities that we are influencing, and they run parallel, right? But the way you influence the collective consciousness is by the way you move in your everyday waking life. Your vibration counts, every vibration counts, kind of like votes in an election. So when you start to break this down to what you can control, then it starts to really put things into focus, Pisces. You mean the way I move in my everyday waking life is having a direct effect on the collective consciousness? Yeah, it is. You know, I sometimes talk about how when I went through my major awakening in 2020, when everything was crazy on the planet, they aligned, my awakening and what was taking place. It was like my own personal reality as well as the collective reality was shifting. There was complete chaos. That's what an awakening of this magnitude feels like. Not only is your life and the way you've been perceiving it up until now crumbling, but so is the world around you. You know, some people hear that and they're like, well, I don't want to do that. That sounds scary. Sure, it does sound scary, Pisces, but it's not. Once you start moving down that path, you've never felt more empowered, actually. Obviously, there's little adjustment periods, but once you get over the threshold, so to speak, you start to truly understand that there is no other way. That to sacrifice your true path is to stay in a kind of slumber. Well, it's an energy of being asleep, right? You're not fully awakened to your divinity and what you came here to do. You know, it's like being sent somewhere on a mission, right? You have to infiltrate a drug cartel or something, and then it's like you go undercover and you end up becoming one of them and relinquishing your mission, right? That's what staying asleep inside the matrix is kind of like, as opposed to doing the job that you were sent here to do. And see, that's where this devil energy comes in, because the devil is working overtime to try and get you to give up your mission. Oh, Pisces, don't bother with that. That's silly. Don't you want to have some fun? I can give you anything you want. I can provide you with a world of riches. And this is why you see people selling out, selling their soul. This is a very real thing. You know, and the way the devil works is through his minions. You know, you're not actually selling your soul to the devil. It's not like he's showing up at your front door saying, would you like to sell your soul? No, it's going to show up in the form of other individuals in your life. It could be that toxic romantic partner that you should have gotten rid of years ago. It could be that toxic family member that you should have cut off out of your life years ago. It could be that friend that's been dragging you down since you were kids that you should have cut off years ago. It could be that behavioral pattern, that addiction, whatever it is. This is how the devil gets you. Through people, through vices, through things that are not in alignment with your highest good and that have a direct impact on your vibration. And remember, I said, your vibration is how you accumulate the spiritual currency. And that is all determined on your karma. You see, we're actually down here to transmute karma. That's what we came down here to do. It's like we're a kind of cleanup crew. We're birthed into these families that have generations of stuck energies and curses and generational patterns that have been tied up, twisted, and knotted by the devil. So then here you are, Pisces. You're down here to try and iron it out, right? I just heard kneading it like dough, right? Pisces, most people that you come in contact with have relinquished their mission such a long time ago without even knowing it. They just get so wrapped up in these karmic patterns that there's just no hope for them, you know? Unfortunately, I know that's a harsh thing to say, but it's true. You know, maybe they'll get it right in the next life cycle, in the next incarnation. But when you strip back all the layers of our reality, you will see a massive battle of principalities taking place. You're kind of like this avatar that's controlling a version of yourself on the spiritual plane. It's like how you move in your everyday waking life determines if you get a win or not, if you get a hit, so to speak, on that spiritual plane of existence. In order to enter into the spiritual battle, your soul has to be incarnated into a physical vessel, into the maze. There's a complexity to it, Pisces, that I could just spend hours upon hours explaining. But I try to just give you guys the simplest, most stripped down version of what it is they're channeling to me while I'm doing these readings for you, so I can actually arm you with something that's useful. But something tells me that what I'm telling you is getting through, Pisces. What do we have at the throat, please? Four of Cups again. So we have it twice. And see, now we're starting to see this duality in the spread here, right? There's the divine white horse. Here you are, charging towards this new beginning, burning down everything that doesn't serve your highest good, right? Stepping into this hermit energy. And then there's the other side of it, right? This hand, right? Come on, Pisces, just drink this. Indulge in this. Don't you want to have fun? Right? And this comes right after the devil. Here you are, indulging. Oh, it's just too much. I can't think about all that. Principalities, a spiritual war. I can't deal with that. I need a drink. Or whatever, right? Whatever it is that the devil has assigned to each one of you individually to keep you off path, right? We've all had to deal with this. I certainly have. Once I started to go inward, Pisces, and I was given downloads very similar to this that I couldn't even articulate in that moment. I just had this kind of knowing. But the focus for me initially was to strip away, right, everything that was holding me back. And as I started to do that, I was seeing massive growth in my life. Massive. It's like every time I removed something that wasn't in alignment with my highest good, I moved forward a step. And then if I added that thing back, I would have to go back 10 steps. It took me a couple years to really get control of this and get a full grasp on it. But then something just came over me. I knew that there was no other way. I knew that it was do or die, right? So I became very ruthless with it. I stripped everything away and boom, shifted timelines. So whatever it is for you, Pisces, it's time. Again, person, place, thing, behavioral pattern, addiction, mindset. That's a big one too, right? Thinking you're not good enough. We've all got something. And we can start to see how everything's connected because all of these things we picked up, almost 100% of the time, are going to originate with these families that we are incarnated into, that we are birthed into, right? Us holding on to all this is carrying that generational karma, that generational curse, whatever it is. You start to realize that what you're engaging in is exactly what you were sent here to break. Boy, is that a slap in the face when you realize that. That's so clear. The divine is illuminating this to you, right? It's like you look down the path with this lantern, you're like, what's down there? And you're like, oh my God, the devil. Wow, I've never said this one before. I'm actually getting chills right now. I just heard it's like looking into the guts of your family's lineage, right? It's like he's a drinker, his father was a drinker, his father's father was a drinker, his father's father's father was a drinker. And they all died of cirrhosis of the liver, right? That's a generational curse. That's generational karma that needs to be transmuted. That's just an example, but it's simple enough to where you can all understand how this works. And behavioral patterns are a big one too, right? Living your life exactly the way the people that came before you lived their life because that's how they taught you to live life. And it just doesn't work, right? Maybe there's a kind of lack mindset that's running through your family lineage there. I know that was a big one for me, probably the biggest one, poverty mindset. Everything was just perceived in a mindset of lack. Alcoholism, spoken about this many times, was also in my family, both sides. That's something that I gave up years ago. And as difficult as that was, the lack mindset is way harder, okay? Because it's a kind of programming that you have to overcome. It's very, very difficult. And even now, it will try and rear its ugly head. It's something that just always tries to regurgitate itself back into your life. So now, when anybody comes onto my path that has that kind of lack mindset, which is just another way of speaking about a poverty mindset, they're essentially the same thing. I can't get away from them fast enough, right? Because it's infectious, it spreads. And when you start to understand that once you've gotten these patterns and cycles under control, you need to avoid those energies at all costs, right? It's similar to when individuals quit drinking. They can't hang around their old drinking buddies or go to the bar anymore because they're at risk of falling off the wagon, right? So now we can see how breaking these patterns, whatever they may be, have a way of allowing you to create an entirely new environment and reality for yourself. This is what allows you to timeline jump or shift your reality or the way you perceive your reality. People hear these terms and they think it's a kind of magic. It's not. It's just all connected to the way you move in your everyday waking life. Obviously, if you change the energies that you engage with on the day-to-day, it's going to completely shift your life. And right on the bottom of the deck, I have Two of Pentacles, Capricorn energy. So the Two of Pentacles is really representing you being in between worlds. There's the past and there's what's up ahead, right? The new timeline. And there's this karmic cycle. But it's like you see this now. You understand this now. And you're like, okay, all right, I see what's going on here. How can I just manipulate this correctly so I can end up on the new timeline, right? And this is not easy. This is very, very difficult, as we know. All of these things are very difficult to overcome. But when you start to find out where they are rooted at, then it becomes easier and easier to keep pushing forward because you understand they are all rooted in this devil energy. What do we have at the third eye, please? Ah, perfect. Queen of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy at the third eye. So now we're starting to see this healing coming through. There's an understanding that you are beginning to have now. You're understanding enough of what you came here to do, right? Even just based off this channeling, right? It should give you a bit of a higher perspective over what may be taking place in your life. We're not going to get every last detail, but we're just trying to give you a generalization here and arm you with something useful to at least get moving on your path. The Queen of Cups is also a very intuitive energy, so it's speaking about this hermit and you connecting, right, to source. You're starting to understand that with this Queen of Cups energy, that there's areas of your life that you need to heal in order to keep pushing down this path. These things can't go with you, whatever they may be for you. And the Queen of Cups, to get at the third eye, is also speaking to me about your vibrational currency. You mean to tell me if I break this habit, if I get away from this person or whatever it may be, that my vibration will go up and I'll be able to shift into a new timeline and align with my purpose and mission? Yes, Pisces, absolutely. Now, each one of you is obviously going to be different than the next, so your path is custom made for you. So I don't know exactly what it is you have to overcome in your life, but generally speaking, this is what we're dealing with here. It's a basic blueprint. Right? Here you are illuminating the devil in your life. And then here you are healing it with a crown on your head, which is representing the level up. What do we have at the crown, please? Two of Wands at the crown, Aries energy. And that card was leaning slightly to the reverse. So there's an energy, I feel, of hesitation here. You know, the Two of Wands is all about you making some sort of plan for your future. It's an energy of you stepping into your personal power, but in its negative polarity, it's an energy of you fearing the unknown, worrying about what may or may not happen, which is exactly what I was picking up towards the beginning of the reading, the worry, right? And as we can see here, it's like the divine is showing you things from a higher perspective, like, look, Pisces, let us show you your life. Let us show you reality through the eyes of the universe. Just take a moment. And if you take a time out to do this, you'll see exactly what it is that's holding you back. You know, most of you already know. It's right underneath your nose. It always is. We make up excuses for it. We don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. But this is one of those energies where it's like there's this massive dam and it's just barely holding back all of this water. You know, there's like a little twig that's somehow holding back the dam gates, right? And that's representing that little thing that you don't think will make a difference. I went through that. Those things that represent that little twig, right? You hold on to for dear life. Those little things are coloring the way you're perceiving your reality. It's an energy of wearing rose-colored glasses. What do we have at the foundation, please? Unbelievable. The Hermit. Furcus. This Hermit's very different. This Hermit's going the opposite way. Look, it's just kind of aging out, right? See, this is the path that the devil wants to send you down. But it's like you turn around and you're like, what's down this path? You start to see that maybe you've been going the wrong way, or you've been entertaining an energy that has been influencing you negatively on your path. This is also a very fearful kind of energy. It's an energy of isolation. See, there's a difference between solitude and isolation. Hermit in its positive polarity is solitude, right? It's when you go into a space to connect with Source, the divine, with God. You nurture that connection, and then you integrate back out into the world. Isolation is where you're basically giving up on life and society and relinquishing your mission down here, completely withdrawing and just giving up, and or just repeating the same patterns year after year after year, right? Just the same old, right? Repeating the karmic cycles. Playing your part in continuing the generational curse down the family line. What do we have? The sacred, please? Knight of Pentacles, Deca Rabia. And now we have the Knight of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy. So this particular Knight of Pentacles is a very stuck, lazy kind of energy, right? And see how these two individuals are shackled to the devil here, to Baphomet. And then right here, it's like, here you are, right? You just got this massive weight holding you down, and you've just kind of, you know what it gives me? It gives me uploading your consciousness into a computer, right? Wow, I've never actually said that before in regards to that card. And I mean, that's the Matrix, right? That's like the dark side of artificial intelligence, right? Which is just really speaking about an energy of conforming, an energy of submission is really what it comes down to. Conforming to this, right? And then right on the bottom of the deck, Lucifer. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Oh, wow. Strength, Leo energy, Vine. This strength card is an energy of suppression. It's an energy of fear. It's like looking down that path with the lantern and seeing the devil and turning around and just going back to where you were and not facing it, right? And again, the devil in your life is all of those things I said. They make up this devil energy. You defeat those things, you defeat the devil in your life, period. Okay? The devil is not going to be some massive beast that shows up in your life. He'll show up undetected in many, many different ways, right? Work in a very incremental fashion as not to go noticed. What do we have at the heart, please? Wow. You know, I was just getting ready to say, but I didn't want to repeat myself, that, you know, the devil shows up as those vices, right? And then look what it says right here. Vice, right? Arobos. which is the Three of Pentacles in its negative polarity. So an energy of stagnation by way of these vices, the people, the behavioral patterns, whatever it is. It's all got a touch of this devil energy. It's all got a touch of evil on it. And you know, I would go as far as saying that when you actually break out of all of this and you get to the other side, you look back and you start to realize that the really small ones, right? The really small things that were going undetected were the most evil ones. It's like a scorpion who stings you. It's the little ones you have to watch out for because the poison is so much more potent. You know, depending on who you are and what your path is, this could literally be broken down to one thing you're consuming that just does something to you. Maybe you're allergic to, you don't know you're allergic to it, and it does something to your energy levels, and then you're not able to show up in your fullest capacity. You know, there's just so many different ways this can go. I'm somebody who's allergic to a lot of things. I have to carry EpiPens around with me. And I had these blood tests done to see once and for all everything that I was allergic to. So they did all these different panels to see. Turns out I'm allergic to peanuts, strawberries, all different kinds of grass. And one of the main things that I actually didn't know about that was on there was hops. Hops is in beer, right? So when I used to drink years ago, I would just fall asleep. And it was very hard for me to get up and get moving the next day. I would have this feeling of sedation that would last for days. So for me, I had no choice, you know? But I feel that there's a handful of you out there that needed to hear that. Maybe you need to go get some blood tests done and see what you're allergic to. You'd be surprised. I mean, I didn't even list half the things, okay? There was dozens upon dozens of things on all of these different panels, from different insects to different pollens and all sorts of stuff was on there. So I feel, Pisces, it's just time to go all in, okay? If you feel like something's holding you back and you can't put your finger on it, it may be this reading that you need to hear, okay? That triggers some ideas so you can finally uncover what this is. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, intellectual lucidity. Now there's this very organized, stable energy that's starting to come through, Pisces. It's an energy of control. It's like you've plucked out all of these things and you're able to get a full grasp and full control over your steps moving forward. And it says right there, lucidity, right? So there's a kind of brightness, a clarity in your expression, the way you're showing up now, your energy, your vibration. And you know, to go back to what I said about my allergies, once I got all those things under control and I just removed everything that was in these panels, my life started to slowly shift. Because when you think about it in terms of that sedative effect, whether it's something you're consuming or whatever it is, it just has a way of laying like a layer of fog over the way you're experiencing your waking life, which is very interesting because this actually takes us back to this Mercury retrograde for all of you, which is causing you to have a kind of fogginess right now, Pisces. So see how one thing, right, an astrological transit can lead you to uncovering something that has been creating some sort of delay and stagnation on your path. Beautiful. I mean, this is just all unfolding in this very profound way. I mean, this is a very, very deep layered reading that I'm doing here for all of you. But I feel that it's going to allow you to uncover some things that you need to pluck out of your life, Pisces, so you can move forward in power and strength and in clarity, in lucidity. And then I have the Nine of Pentacles in the bottom of the deck, and it says right there, identifies traitors and destroys their plans, right? So this can just really speak about and confirm everything that we're saying here, right? Identifying things. What do we have at the throat? Ten of Swords, Gemini energy, the marvelous God. Revelation protects from sadness, gives revelations in dreams. Okay, so this is just really speaking about the downloads, right? The intuitive guidance, the mission statement being downloaded to you in your dream space for a lot of you. And whenever I see this Ten of Swords, it makes me think about like a portal, right? And there's like a seal that's on it now and you've moved on. And there's all these eyes watching you move on. See, this is just representative of everything that we've spoken about here that's not in alignment with your highest good, and you putting this in your rearview mirror, whatever it may be. What do we have in the third eye? Unbelievable. Again, the Hermit. So we have it 3 times. Word of God creating all. Alchemy and transformation. Rules natural events, helps with spiritual progress, right? It's like the divine illuminating to you everything that you need plucked out of your life in order to progress spiritually down your path. We have the negative and the positive polarity. This is a demon, this is an angel. So we can see there's a duality here at play. What do we have at the crown, please, to close out the reading for Pisces? Too many cards. Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Oh, I love when this happens. Death. Mumia. God, the end of the universe. Endings and rebirth. Influences health and longevity. So the death card here is representing this transformation unfolding in your life. It's not literal. It's a death to the old and a beginning of the new. The death card is the most transformative card in the tarot. It represents the phoenix rising out of its own ashes, the ashes of the past. And further confirmation with what it says there in regards to influences health and longevity, spiritual, mental, physical, emotional. It's time to go in and tune up all of these areas of your life, Pisces, because I feel that once you do this, as we begin to come out of these retrogrades, you're going to start stepping into an entirely new season in your life with much more clarity, focus, and understanding as to why you were sent down here to even begin with. That's a big statement, but I feel very confident saying that, Pisces, because this right here is nothing short of a mission statement. I feel that I've just transmitted some vital pieces of information for all of you that you're being called to implement on your path to get the breakthrough that you are looking for here. Pisces, this is the message I have available to you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations, Pisces. Take care.